Society. And the presentation I'm going to give today is about videos, specifically how to make audiovisual promotion of debating using social media. I will not dwell so much on social media by themselves because it was covered in the previous web-related presentation. So I will cover more the principles of social media that apply especially to videos and their sharing, because that's important thing to consider if you're making a video, because you're not making a video that is not supposed to reach anyone. You're trying to make a video that will reach specific target audience. So the social media are specific vehicle or a tool how to achieve that reach of your videos. So in that sense I will also talk about them. So please, if you could move it up, thank you. So this is one of the first things you need to consider. Do any of you know Marshall McLuhan? I don't think so. It's a rather obscure thing in media and communication studies. It's a father of the school of thought called techno-determinism. And his idea is that if you take a medium, specific medium, like a printing press, or even he described a light bulb as a medium, something that can convey some sort of information, then you need to realize that the medium has a specific nature. The medium is influencing how you can communicate using that medium. It's not the same if you have, say, a speech for people in real life. It's not the same if you're printing a newspaper. It's not the same if you're making a video. And I'm not mentioning it because there is a specific disconnect in way in which debating or academic things are being presented that misunderstands what video as a medium requires of you. If you're trying to make a video that works, you need to realize what are the limits of the medium. And in terms of videos or audiovisual presentations, which can probably include live things, but mostly are related to videos and things like television channels and even movies. There are subtle differences, but the important thing is that if you're making a video, you need to realize that you cannot just write something down on paper as a speech and read it on camera or off camera as a disembodied voice, and then have something completely unrelated going on visually, or nothing really going on visually in the video, as you're just narrating it as if you were reading something from a book. That's something that happens often. If you look at debate videos that are trying to be sort of teaching something, then a lot of the times it's just an excuse to make a presentation. But the presentation is not really a video. Presentation is what I'm doing right now, and it's not a video in the sense that you would expect people who are not watching it live to be like really into it. Because if you're making a presentation for people, you can capture it, but that doesn't make it something like a movie. If you're trying to make a video that's a legitimate video, it needs to be, for instance, scripted. It needs to be edited. Edited in terms of pace. You need to edit the video in such a way that it flows quickly. Because if you just put the camera down and film a debate, as it so happens very often, then it's a strange effect that many people who are organizers in debating notice if they are trying to promote their debates in that way. They are saying, well, the people are enjoying debates in real life, but for some reason, when you put it on camera, it doesn't work. Because the person who watches the recording of the debate, the effect like if you record a football match or something. It's just like, it's not the same thing. And the point is not that you couldn't promote debate audiovisually. The point is that you need to make a video about debating, not just a recording of a debate. There is a distinction between those two things. For instance, when you have a debate and you're a person watching the debate, do you care for like 5 minutes of people preparing their papers on the table before they start speaking? Like, why would you? Like, the only reasonable thing that is on your mind is like either just end the videos, like start watching something else, or skip it. Skip the parts that are not interesting, parts where nothing happens. One of the things that you can always do, and it's not extremely difficult, even the basic editing software will allow you to do that, is that you record the debate and you cut out all the bits where nothing happens. You might, some might object to that, that you are altering what really happened, but if you are essentially just eliminating bits where nothing of consequence happened, then it doesn't even impact the debate or the emotion or the experience you might have as a person watching the debate. If you're watching the debate live, then then nothing really happens, then you can, I don't know, like talk to a person next to you or something. There are things you can do in real life, other than just you are sitting in front of a screen and watching nothing happen. So there's a difference between it. It's like if it's live, and difference if it's video. And there's a difference between just putting up a recording on the internet and making it a video. Because video needs to be edited when you have, with having in mind that for a video or a film or something like that to be watchable at all, it needs to be swift. The pacing needs to be snappy, because otherwise the human brain, if you're just watching the screen and you're not really in that situation, you will just lose interest. And if you lose interest, especially today, and for people who are watching something on YouTube, if you lose their interest and like that, you don't have a viewer anymore. Because the videos, I know that debate is a specific kind of thing that does require some patience and some focus, but on the other hand, you can do a lot, even by subtle changes to the recording, to make it much more viewable and much more watchable and survivable for a long time. Because there's the other principle. If you have a video, then you need to, at the very beginning, you need to catch attention. If the video does not succeed right at the beginning to catch the viewer, to make them want to watch what's about to come in the video, then they will just not watch your video. On the videos as such, if you have more of them, and they expect that all of them will be like that. Because if you click on a video on YouTube, then you don't have, as a person, you don't have unlimited time. You will not live forever. So you will give it, I don't know, give it like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, minute max. If you're not sure after 1 minute into the video what's going on in the video, then the video is just dead. You're not gonna wait for another 10 minutes before something starts happening. So something really important has to happen right at the beginning of the video, and that's another of the limitations of the medium. The medium needs to catch the attention right from the start, and then maintain it by having snappy editing where always something happens in the video. And something happening, I know the problem is that in debate, some people may think that it's just a thing of speaking, of the audio of it, the part. The point is, you can't have a video where it's assumed that it will be just about the sound, and that there will be like nothing happening visually whatsoever. That there will be just some person standing and nothing. That's why the things you can do to help that, for instance, is we specifically hire professional cinematographers with good equipment, and when we buy our own equipment, we are trying to have good high-definition cameras, because there is some movement and there is some grace to debating. There is something visually going on, especially if the debaters are good. Then they will use the gestures, and they will be well dressed, so they will look very nice. So you might want, for instance, to tweak the colors in the video so that they are more vibrant. It's something like not just keeping it, absolutely realistic, so sort of, by not enhancing the image in any way. You need to enhance the image, apart from making it snappy and catching the attention at the beginning. So that's what usually happens, is that at the beginning something completely uninteresting happens, like you have a black screen and white titles, and that's just saying debate such and such on this motion, on this institution, between these, like nobody cares about that, nobody will read that. And then unedited, unenhanced, pure recording with all the periods where nothing happens are in the video. And then even if somebody, because if you have YouTube, you can watch how long did they maintain watching the videos. So you can have even these like advanced statistics like Google Analytics. You can on YouTube. You can find out even like how much they were able to maintain the attention when they clicked on the video. So you need to strive to make it so watchable that most people who will click on that video will actually continue watching it and will stay like at least like halfway through. And we have many videos which are even lectures that take an hour or an hour and a half. And when you look into the statistics, the minutes actually watched and how long they usually keep their attention, there are people who are actually, like most people who click on that actually watch that, which is something that's how you define that the video is well made for what it's supposed to be. That when it reaches its target audience, the people in the target audience will actually watch the video after they click on it for any reason whatsoever. So just to sum it up, the medium of video has certain limitations, and it means that it needs to be edited snappily. It needs to have an interesting, very action-packed beginning. Good is a combination of for instance, location shots that are nice and energetic music, for example, because you don't want to maintain the music throughout the debate, but you can afford like first 15 seconds with music. Because when you use YouTube, for instance recently started offering creation tools. Creation tools which are essentially a library of free music, which is very professionally recorded. And all genres, many samples, and you can all use that all for free. And there is even a web page, like a composer on the internet who just offers his works for free just for being mentioned, which is called Incompetech for some reason. I-N-C-O-M-P-E Tech, T-E-C-H. So it's like there are pages with royalty-free music on the internet. And you can just take that, and once again, the most basic editing program, you can use it. You don't even have to resort to copyright infringement, because these melodies are usually, from these sources, are comparable to popular music. So there's no compromise in terms of quality or function for the music, what that music does. And in terms of enhancement of the image, you should enhance colors, you should enhance contrast, you should really improve the picture as much as possible for it to be more vibrant, more energetic, because what debate would normally lack, or recording of a debate would normally lack, would be the energy. The thing that keeps person watching the video after they started watching the video. So those are easy things. Most even free softwares have at least some functions that will help you to one of these ends. So snappy editing, catch attention at the beginning, use music, use enhancement of the image, and cut out all the things where nothing happens. It's just the very basic principles if you want to just like post debates on your channel. Then there are other things which I will discuss later, and for that you can, yes, thank you. So what you need to realize is that when you're making a video, when we're talking just about the recording of a debate, then it's quite straightforward, because that's a documentary effort. So that's not something that requires you to write a script or create something. So when you want to really catch people's attention by videos and really promote yourself using videos, you need to start being creative. And not only creative in a sense that you have original ideas that you then make into videos that are interesting, but also you need to be smart about it, and you need to think about practical aspects of how you need to think about what the video should be like so that it is useful for you. And the usefulness comes from two things. In cognitive psychology, there is an extensive theory that you can look up in academic libraries or all over the internet that deals with audiences. And you need to really understand how audiences think and how they work and how to work with them, or how to help them so that they better understand what you're trying to communicate. The things that are, this is a multiple phase process which begins with selection. You need to somehow get the people into a situation that they will actually click on the video to watch it. It's a selection of what they are going to watch, but that's not the end of it. Then it continues by attention. They need to be able to actually pay attention and absorb what is being watched by them after they click on it. That's the thing that they will keep watching the video. And then there's retention, that you want, if you wanted to communicate something, it needs to stay in the minds of those who watch the video. There is a classic example. You might like certain ads because they are funny, but if you then don't remember what that ad was for, it was a bad ad. It was funny, it may have been funny, but what was important about the ad is the connection between the ad and the product. And if that didn't happen, then that was a misunderstanding of how to communicate it to the audience. So if you're, that's the other term is marketing. Targeting is part of marketing, and the videos need to be marketed in some logical fashion. You need to have a clear idea of what you're trying to accomplish by that video. Are you trying to communicate that you exist and who you are, your identity? Are you trying to communicate what happened somewhere as a report? Are you trying to entertain people so that they might be inclined to watch more stuff on your channel? Like, you need to have a clear idea of what you're trying to accomplish with the video. It might be educational video. You might want to educate the people who watch the video so that they actually remember some important things that you're trying to teach them. So there are these goals you might want to choose, and audiences defined by age groups, for instance, or kinds of school that people attend, or hobbies they might have in free time. Specific things about people that you might want to select, so that you make one video, for instance, for parents, one other completely different video for students that might participate in the program, or you may want to make completely another video which is a part of some serious academic project. And you really need to keep it focused. Like, video is meant for someone and it has a goal. So that's how, even if you want to be completely artistic and creative and original, still you need to think about the practical side of it for it to work. And the other thing is focus groups. That's something you can do if you want to test that your idea of how to target a specific group and how to communicate certain things. If you want to test that whether it works or not, focus groups are the instrument you can use. Focus group is essentially when you pick people who haven't seen that video before, which are from that specific target group that you selected, that you want to address by the video. And then you play the video for them, and then you make an interview with them about their reactions. And what's important is to find out if how you thought it would work is actually how it works. And if it does, then you keep doing that thing that you did to achieve certain effect. If you find out that they didn't understand what you tried to communicate, you need to reevaluate how you are going about targeting the video, or how you're going about trying to craft it into some kind of message. Okay? Yeah. Then there are, when you want to talk about the social networks and how they work in terms of sharing videos and furthering your promotion, then if you, for instance, have a YouTube channel, then you need to adhere to certain principles to maximize the chances that your channel will work out for you, that it will attract attention, that it will communicate messages, that it will do all the things that you want it to do, and it's of course completely up to you what you're trying to accomplish by the channel. But you need to know what it is. You can't just randomly make videos without giving it any thought and hoping that it will have some specific outcome. There is a science to it. And in terms of the things you need to do, branding. Your channel needs to be recognizable as instantly as possible. You need to have a visual identity, you need to have identity or consistency in terms of like what kind of music you use, what kind of, if you have some sort of like slogans or logos you use, of what kind of videos you're making, and that comes into the programming. The programming on your channel, meaning how often you do what kinds of videos which are named in a particular way, how much it is understandable for a random that just happens to find your channel. It must be, when they look at it, they must be able to understand that you are making certain kinds of videos at certain times, so that they can, if they decide that they want to watch a specific kind of it, they have an idea of if it's even there, something that they want to watch, and when they can expect something to appear which is of the kind that they prefer. So, in terms of the programming, a helpful tool on YouTube is that you can have playlists. On the front page of the channel, you can have playlists, and you can make each playlist about a grouping of particular kind of videos. For instance, we have this list of interview videos, we have a list of debate recordings, we have a list of videos that are educational, and then when they look at the page of the YouTube channel, they immediately are oriented in what they might want or might not want to watch and where to find it. So programming must be logical, regular, because if you don't post videos regularly, then people will assume that your channel is dead. So that's something that you don't want to happen. So you also need to maintain the flow of the videos, at least somewhat often, so that it works. And the last thing, networking, that finally reaches the problem of the social networks or the social media. You can't just expect to have a channel and not connect it to anything and assume that everybody will find the channel and everybody will watch the channel. Every chance you get, if you have web pages, if you have Facebook channels, if you have Twitters, whatever, whenever you post a new video, you need to also let people know in all your other social media outlets. Because what you're hoping for is that when you present it into the space of, for instance, Facebook or some other social medium, that the people who watch it, or somebody who watch it, will start sharing it among themselves and the friends of their friends of their friends. So you need to try, at least try, even if it's not successful all the time, to go for the viral effect. And you can only achieve that by, it might seem to some of you like pushing your own videos, but you know, without promotion, this is a kind of promotion of your own work, you cannot expect that people will magically find out that it exists. You really need to do some work in that regard, or otherwise the people will have a hard time of finding your channel, because YouTube, even though it technically also is a social media site, people might not, as was mentioned before, people might be inclined to spend much more time browsing other social networks than YouTube in terms of trying to find out what's going on related to people and organizations. Because on Facebook it's much more apparent that a certain organization or a certain group of people is doing something. On YouTube it's just videos grouped by themes. And so people might find your channel when they are specifically looking for something like education. Like, ask yourselves, how often are you specifically looking on YouTube for educational videos? You might hope that your videos are fun too, but and you can also, well, put them into the category of fun, but they may get entertainment, but they may get drowned out in the enormous amount of funny cats and people getting hit by something into the crotch and stuff like that. So if you're like honest about what it is, then people will probably not go out of their way to find debating videos. You really need to advertise it on social networks in proper context, so that they feel like it's something that they can connect with a person. Like, for instance, with you personally, they know that you're their friend and that you're part of something that they don't really know what it is, and they may then think that maybe by watching the video they may easily come to understand what it is that you are a part of. So really this networking, and the networking also works in terms of between organizations. It's and that I think is in the next slide. Okay, then this comes later, but I will return to that. This is just a helpful guide if you want to spice up the video in terms of, like, you are writing a script and you are trying to come up with something that people will watch. There are some shortcuts. No, just go there, yes. Music and rap, as it was well, told on me last time. I did do some rap recently, because it's really quite close to rhetorical disciplines. And it can, of all the musical genres, by rap you don't even have to compromise what debating is to make it, to present it in a more stylistically interesting form. So it's probably a compromise that might work out for some of you, because especially because it's popular among young people, and young people are the main demographic you probably want to address. And as for the music, of course, any kind of music, even if it's a symphonic music or like soundtrack kind of film music, or if it's genre music like pop music, rock music, if you can communicate your messages in the form of a song, there's almost a guarantee that it will be more watched than if you try to do so without music being involved. And of course, then are the lowbrow things like cute animals, babies, sexy people, smiling people, as related. Scandals and tragedies, something horrible happened, One more agreeable with debating might be current events, because you can make it in sort of like news way, that you are some sort of debating news thing. And then not necessarily making news about debating, because that would not probably be interesting to general public, but applying a debating approach to speaking about current events. Then, of course, even among that is a lowbrow approach that you talk about celebrities and their affairs and stuff like that. And of course, that's why it's the pop culture references. It also includes all the references to Star Trek and then all these other fanboy nerd things that will have specific appeal because they are related to something that is popular, and you can just like bridge it or make it a bridge to debating or what it is. But, and that's why it's underscored, you can also be original. Like, I know it's hard, but if you really don't want to do any of that easy stuff and the cheap stuff and the low stuff, you can also be creative, just original. Because originality, if you're good, then originality is essentially a form of novelty, and novelty is interesting automatically. So if you do something in a way in which nobody has done that before, that is also a good strategy, and probably ultimately the best strategy of attracting attention to your video. Okay? One. Yeah, this is what's related to the networking. Because there are two basic models of how you can think about making videos and distributing them to people. And that's, I would say, the old way and the new way, but some people may still consider the old way to be working completely fine. The old way, in my opinion, would be the corporate capitalist model, where you expect that you create a product and you sell it. And then you make, by making money by selling it, you have money to make more products and invest further and function, pay your employees. And the problem is that if you're doing something like that, it makes sense in a situation when you, for instance, when a video has to be tied to a material object, like a VHS tape. Then you have a competition, because people will buy a limited amount of VHS tapes or CDs, and then you think in that sort of competitive, exclusive way that when one, for instance, let's say one debating channel A, when they sell more, then automatically the debating channel B must sell less, and that, think about it, that there's a competition between people who do the same thing. The point is that inherently debating organizations are non-governmental organizations mostly, or even governmental organizations. They probably the least often they will be a corporation. But even if they are, they still, like as their competition, they will be probably non-profit organizations, non-governmental organizations. And if you want to, for instance, you may think that you don't have the money and you don't have all the necessary skilled people to do all the work that is related to making videos. Like you need, of course, you need someone to film adequately, you need someone to edit, you need someone ideally who can do special effects, you need someone who can edit, for instance, sound and music into it, so that it works. Sometimes like people have multiple skills, but you need people with skills in general if you want to make a channel that produces videos. And also you need some equipment. You probably will need, even though it's incredibly cheap today, to have a decent high-definition camera, to have a microphone that is not completely terrible. And then anything, essentially what you need is to be a step up from filming yourself in your garage on your cell phone. So that's probably bad. But if you can manage to get a camera and you can manage to get the microphone and you can manage to edit it somehow, then well, your production can be decent. Even if it's not spectacular, it can work out. And for that purpose, you don't need to make millions as a company. So you can use the alternative strategy, and that's instead of thinking of your competition as competition that's trying to reach goals that are exclusive, you think about them as the people who can help you or who can help themselves mutually. You can think of pooling resources with other organizations, which is, for instance, the case of this project. There are multiple international, particular national, but from many states, organizations that do debating, and not all of them are capable of filming. since we are the organizations that of them all is most capable of filming, then we can essentially cover these events, but these events will be covered for everyone who's involved in the project. So you can just by trying to be cooperative, you can get contacts to people who know people who know people who either know people with skills or have the equipment that you might need for a particular task. And if you share your ideas, the basic idea that we want, for instance, want to promote debating, then you can pool the resources with them, and you may realize that if you consider YouTube videos, people, individual person can watch virtually unlimited amount of YouTube videos. There's no exclusivity maybe of individual views. So you can be two channels who can help each other out by sharing and pooling resources and then sharing, mutually promoting each other, and then both of these channels will have more views. It's not that when one channel has more views on YouTube, other channel automatically needs to have less. That this old exclusive way of products being finite in terms of how much they can be, how many of them can be distributed. That doesn't apply to social networks. It doesn't really apply to YouTube. It doesn't really apply to internet and software in general, unless you really go out of your way to put up imaginary barriers to complicate life for everyone. So, in the current situation, you can also consider the networking in a sense that you will reach out to organizations who would like to do the same kind of thing as you, and be reaching out as long until you actually arrive at the adequate amount of resources that are mutually shared that you need to put up a decent production. Okay? Okay, so this is about the end of my presentation on the things I wanted to say. If you have any more questions, of course, you can ask now or contact us later. So, does anyone have any questions?
Can you play some video with me?
Maybe. Okay. Anybody else? Anything else?
Can I second his proposal? I'd really like to see you rap.
Okay. Okay. So it came down to that. Fine. Let's not play that. I warned you. Okay, I'm warning you now. One more.
Can you do it without video? Just like
yeah. We try to see how life is so
This is about the presentation about videos. So. You're lucky that I'm allowing this.
He was thinking on Heart of Europe. Yeah?
Demonstration of several of the principles of how to make videos. Just a quick question, what did you think about those videos?
Well, I think the rap was great.
I know what you think. Okay.
I think they kind of grabbed the audience's attention, and yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's for instance how you would be doing focus group. Like, you are the kind of people that our videos would target, and then you watch it and I can ask you what you think about it, and if they say that it's like kind of cool and that it caught the attention, that's a confirmation that it does work in the way we hoped it would work. And the ways that you could have noticed in the videos, there are enhanced colors, the editing is trying to be snappy so that it's at a quick pace. There's, whenever possible, if something is inherently funny, like a nice seminar, then it's like the best kind of thing to focus on, because mostly if you have like promotion of debating tournaments, of course there are lectures for debaters, for instance, of how to follow the rules of the format or something like that. But you can also do that more creatively, like now. You can go outside when it's nice outside. You can, as we did, you can have a professional or at least semi-professional, in other words, competent cinematographer who films that, not just that he puts down a camera on a tripod and goes for a break, but really follows the action This is something, it doesn't have to be perfect, especially if it's for free, if just some friend of yours doing that. But there's a huge difference if you do just like nothing or the least amount of work possible, or if you actually try. If you try, it's always inherently much better and it works better. So, because in the videos, and as I pointed out before, if you have more videos on the channel, you can use the tools of YouTube to link the videos by buttons. And there's even one video where it's not just a button. You can find that, but you can do, if you have sufficient power in your editing computer, then you can do something that looks better. It's not extremely difficult effect, just the computer needs to be able to make that work. Yeah. That's like the same kind of registration video from previous year. No wrapping this time, but just this is the beginning of the video so that you try to catch the attention at the beginning of this video.
Heart of Europe is back for the 10th time. Have you ever visited this international debating tournament? If you have, you're welcome to come again. It will be just as great as last time you've been there, only bigger and better. Our goal is to once again exceed the last year's number of participants, more than 40 teams from 20 countries from 5 continents. On the other...
So that was what I did at the beginning, was that if you're trying to avoid copyright infringement, you can still edit in like it's a few seconds of virtually anything if it's for like parody purposes or something like that. And if I used like right at the beginning, of course, use the opening intro to Star Wars, because that's some sort of like subliminal cue for people to like, oh, something awesome is gonna happen. And then I intercut it with Gangnam Style music, dancing, and I used the best shot, which was a Swedish debater actually, partying at our party, which really captured like the kind of state that you would want to go into at that kind of event. So that all happened in the first under first 30 seconds. And then the rest of the video is kind of like more normal promotion stuff. It's like then the pacing is slower and the emotion content is less intense, and all the boring facts are communicated. But if you're hooked in the first 30 seconds, you will probably want to watch the rest. But I wanted to show you at the very end the thing you can also do relatively easily, because it's just overlapping layers of video.
More info on Olomouc, or here for more info on who's who in our chief adjudicator panel.
If you have a link on a video, it could be a mini version of the video running, like first 30 seconds of each of the videos.
Or here for what you'd be debating. Or here for an explanation of important technical matters. We sincerely hope you will choose to participate at the historic 10th annual Heart of Europe 2000.
Okay, because this is making it really easy for the viewers to watch more videos that are thematically linked with what you're trying to do. So it just requires a little bit of foresight, planning in advance, and the effect that makes this thing work is extremely simple, because it's just white screen. There's our logo that just grows slightly. It's a very simple effect, because it's better if it moves at least slightly. That's better than not at all. And these mini versions of the videos, you just take the video and you just make it smaller and place it somewhere in the screen, and you can do that with as many as you want, as long as your computer can still function when you're trying to preview it. But for something like that, you don't even need to look like a supercomputer. It's like a regular. This doesn't even have a good graphics card. It's just you need to probably, if you want to edit, then you probably need to buy a lot of RAM memory, but that's extremely cheap into the computer. But if you have a normal, like nowadays standard processor, standard graphics card, and you just buy the maximum amount of RAM, which is like, for instance, you buy it with 4 and you double it with 8. Then with that, you can run even the more advanced professional editing softwares quite fine. So it's not like it's not a matter of it being extremely expensive. It's just you do a little search online and you find out that there are some tools that you can use, and you have an average computer nowadays, which almost anyone will have anyway, because just people have now notebooks. and you can just with minimum skill you can achieve quite solid effect. Okay. So now any more requests or questions? Any of you? Okay.
Editing programs.
Yes. You can essentially use even the professional softwares in trial mode because they are usually in free trial mode for a month. And in a month you can do a project. That's not problematic at all. Those that I would prefer probably Adobe software, which is Premiere Pro, is the software for editing. If you want special effects very easily, then it's also the After Effects from Adobe. But you can also use Sony Vegas, and you can use as well the other company, which is called Sony Vegas, Adobe, and of course if you have a Mac, then I'm not sure how it's called, but Apple computers have their specific very good. Probably yes. So of course Apple computers are very good for that, and they have this kind of software that also works quite fine. This kind of three software are the most used. But you can also look up, even in the most basic, free, worst kind of editing software, you will still at least have the functionality of you can have multiple layers of video, and you can probably do a little tweaking of like sort of make it prettier colors or brightness or something like that. And that's pretty much all you need, just the ability to cut it where you want it and put multiple layers over each other, and then it's just like a mosaic. It's very simple. If you don't want to have like computer-generated explosions or something like that. But even that, you can look at YouTube. There are many free green screen effects. And if you have a somewhat decent editing software, it will have keying. And if you have keying, then you can download these free YouTube effects and just place them there, key out the green color, and you can layer on layer on top of layer. You can create any kind of sort of collage that you want that is the video then. Usually what's good is that you have one layer which is the main stuff, which is like the debate or something, which is just like enhanced colors or something, and the boring stuff cut out, which hopefully will not include the debate itself. And then you have the next layer, you have the logo of the channel, for instance, in the videos. And you can, in YouTube, you can take the logo of the channel and make it clickable to subscribe, which is also very good, especially in videos where you expect that people will watch it more than others. Which is you want to make it really easy for your viewers. All of that costs you nothing, of course. I especially like the feature on YouTube that appeared recently, which is the free library of music. It's really awesome thing, and I didn't really notice people. I didn't really notice people using it much, and it's strange because it's completely free and anyone can use it. So, anything else? Okay, so I thank you for your attention, and that's all from me.